By our colleague Mark Kleiman from Sky News that Manchester United could finally be sold by their American owners after their 17-year reign. Mark Kleiman reporting tonight that the Glazer family is preparing to formally announce its intention to examine potential sources of outside investment that could include a full-blown auction of arguably the world's most famous football club.
Quite incredible, isn't it? Yes.
Manchester United Football Club is for sale. The Glazers are going to sell. They're going to sell. My dream comes true. The Glazers will leave Manchester United Football Club. 17 years of erosion, 17 years of regression, the fall from grace from the most successful Premier League club ever. The stadium leaks, the training ground is old, player power has taken over this football club, but they are finally willing to sell. They've made enough money. They see things at being at their optimum. They can't make any more money. Billions they're going to make. And I care about that. And we'll get onto that later. But finally, we win. These parasites that have ruined our football club, they're on their way out. And I, for one, am absolutely buzzing. And I'm saying this now. No love lost, no nothing. You have ruined our football club. Hurry up and get it done. And get the hell out of here, you mugs. Ben Jacobs says here, the Rant Group who oversaw Chelsea's sale are acting as Man United's executive financial advisors. This is significant. The Glazers, like FSG at Liverpool, saw the Chelsea sale and realized there was a strong range of suitors with an appetite to buy a Premier League club for billions. Goes on to state that it's been a telling few months that the Glazers have gone from privately fending off Radcliffe to publicly announcing a potential sale. This is partly down to how appealing it is right now for US investors to exploit the weak pound. Sales take time, but the Rant Group know how to speed these situations up. As I've stated all along, the Glazers would only sell when they think they've made enough money. The Glazers would only sell when they think the club is at its maximum value. Maximum value. Or they can make the most amount of profit. It's only ever been about money, which is why my belief was if we crash the value, crash the stock price, they would have sold sooner. Thankfully, one prediction of mine within this has been wrong. Thankfully, one thing about the Glazers that I've said is wrong. And that's that they may be here for the foreseeable if we don't drop that price. I am so happy to be wrong about that element. I'm so happy about the fact that I may get to go back to that ground, that I may get to buy shirts again. I may get to wear my club's colours with my kids, that I may get to participate fully in financially supporting Man United. That's what supporters do. If you don't financially support your club, you're not a supporter. You're a fan, but you ain't a supporter. And I want to be a financial supporter of Man United because I love that football club. It's why I walked away from giving them my money, because I did not believe the way the Glazers were running it was conducive and respectful to the history and the heritage of this club. So them selling it is amazing. Them selling it is amazing. Here is their statement, as you can see up on your screen here. You may not be able to read all of that, but it does state that as part of the process, the board will consider all strategies alternative, including new investment into the club, a sale, or other transactions involving the company. This will include an assessment of several incentives to strengthen the club, including the stadium and infrastructure and other elements along the way. But this is a very long-winded way of saying we are selling the club, we are cashing in. The question is who's going to buy it. We'll get into that in a minute. First of all, hit the like button. Leave your comments below as well. Make sure you are scanning the QR code and downloading the OneFootball app. Very, very important to us indeed that you get that done. Let's take a little look here what Alex Crook had to say yesterday. Very, very, very important to hear this.
Was leaving the club, and then a few hours later I started to hear some whispers that the Glazer family were putting the club up for sale. I was told the possibility of them selling up is, quote, very real. We got a statement from the Glazers basically confirming that, saying they're looking for ways to refinance the club, didn't rule out a sale, and I'm told there are lots of interested parties. And I think what's key here is they've instructed the Rain Group, who managed the sale of Chelsea to Todd Bowley, so they will have a dossier, a portfolio, if you like, of people who were interested in buying Chelsea. There will be conversations with those people to say, do you want to buy Manchester United? Chelsea went for £4 billion. I'm told United could go for anywhere from £6 billion to £8 billion. So maybe
6 to 8 billion. That is significant. And I want to tell you as to why. So far, there's no links to anybody from the Middle East buying Man United. There's nobody. There's no one that we look at as a kind of Sheikh Mansour or the owners of PSG, Roman Abramovich style, more from Russia, like a billionaire that's going to come in and say, listen, we're not going to run this as an investment. We're just going to run this, we're going to pump as much money in as we can, raise the commercial revenue, and do everything we can to make you the best football team in the world. We haven't seen any links to that yet, and maybe we will. It's more likely to be US investment, more likely to be a Chelsea-style takeover. But this is why I don't have bad energy for Chelsea's takeover or Liverpool's, because I'm going to keep the same energy here. It's highly likely to work out. Man United even more so than Chelsea's, and even more so than Liverpool's. 6 to 8 billion pounds. Some of that money will also include billions that will be injected into improving the stadia, training facilities, and much, much more. Now, the reason why this is key is because these investors at some point in the future want to make a return on their money. The only way you get a return, let's just say it's 6 billion, not 8. We're going to be very conservative and say 6 bill. If it's a 6 billion pound investment, how do these billionaires get their money back in 10, 15, 20 years' time? By selling the club for more money than they bought it for. That's basically it, right? That is essentially it. Very basic investment understanding. You sell it for more than you bought it for. But how do you do that? Well, Man United have to get back to winning. Man United have to grow the commercial arm. The arm will only continue to grow if Man United get back to winning ways. We can't continue to fall behind multiple clubs in Europe and multiple clubs in England income and successes, and then expect the value to ever get to a point that's going to make a profit. The Glazers didn't have to do that. So before anybody says, but the Glazers made money and they didn't invest a penny of their own money. They bought it with leveraged debt, meaning they took a loan out that Manchester United Football Club paid for so they could own it, and they're going to sell it for £6 billion. You can't do leveraged debt anymore. It has to be bought. Essentially, it won't be done directly in cash like you're buying a sandwich in Tesco's, but essentially the money has to be there and it'll be a transfer. So how do they get this £6 billion back? It's by sales in the future. You have to make sure that the stadium continues to improve. You have to make sure that the training facilities stay up to date. You have to make sure there is a club plan, club philosophy. There is great football, that brands want to be associated with you. The reason that TeamViewer and multiple other brands are pulled away is because fans have stopped buying their products. Fans have boycotted them. Fans have trolled them online. The negative press around the club. All these things have played a part. Ironically, the only way you've made any change at Man United is by pulling money or damaging business. These new investors, these new owners are going to need to make sure that none of this happens. How do they make sure none of that happens? You have to make us good on the football pitch. Would I like Sheikh Mansour-esque type ownership at Man United? From a point of view of running the club? Yes. Is that likely? Not right now, in my opinion. But am I as worried about these US investors as I've been with US investors in the past? No. Could there be teething problems? Yes. Do they need to come in and make sure they've got a good football infrastructure in place to work from? Do I want them coming in and overhauling everything that's already started with Eric and everybody else? No. There could be some teething problems. There's no doubt about that. But this is massively positive news for Man United. There is an element of jumping out of the fire and panning into the fire. But when you deep it and think about it, I don't see any billionaire paying £6 billion for a club to run it in the ground and lose 3 or 4 billion on it in 10 years' time. I just don't see him doing it. You're more likely to get someone who does that, who's worth £200 billion, than someone who might be worth 8 billion, 9 million, 10 billion. They're not going to waste the majority of their fortune which they've obviously built through hard work and brilliance, most of them, and run it into the ground. And that isn't going to happen at Liverpool, and that isn't going to happen at Chelsea, in my opinion. And I'll keep the same energy for Manchester United. Rivals be scared. Rivals be scared. Now, Dan, mean this. You be scared. Because we've been a sleeping giant for too long. We've been a sleeping giant. We're there or thereabouts in top 4. We've won a few trophies in the last decade. But the erosion from 2005 till now has been palpable. No one saw it in bite-sized chunks. We saw it come to fruition. Sort of mid-teenies, 15, 16, 17 onwards. That's when we started to see the real poor run of the club a decade in hurt us. And for 7 years, we've felt the pain. But it's always been there. And rivals have gotten away with murder. The Glazers have allowed other teams to overtake us in this league. And I don't care how arrogant this sounds. I find that unacceptable. Catch us, maybe. Be on par with us, maybe. But to leave us behind? Not on your Nelly. The money they've wasted on the wrong projects, the wrong managers, the wrong players because of no structure, and the money they've hemorrhaged, and the lack of investment in improving facilities, training grounds, stadia, is unforgivable forever. But be scared, rivals. Be scared, rivals. Because when this sale goes through, I mean this, and I'll take this to the bank. I'll take this to Rain Group. When this sale goes through, when Man United get new owners, we will be back.